business model change in all the industries. New categories of jobs are emerging, partly or wholly displacing others. A new skill set is required in both old and new occupations. Just having the technical skills won't help a company to reach its goals if it is plagued by poor communication, poor leadership, or lack of flexibility. Hence, the soft skills are even more important and even more sought after now. Upskilling is the order of the day. And to ascertain that our students are future ready, our university began this initiative back in 2014 with setting up of School of Lifelong Learning. A continued endeavor is the webinar being held today. Hope that you all will gain a deep insight and make this interaction worth your while. Before we begin, let's welcome the people who have made all of this possible. I would like to formally welcome Dr. Salim and Ritu Bhargav ma'am, who have been instrumental in organizing this webinar for us. Sir, if you could say your few words on this webinar today.
Sure. Thank you very much. And thanks for welcoming me. I welcome you all to this webinar of School of Lifelong Learning. And as has been rightly pointed out, communication skills are so very important, In fact, if you look at it, Peter Drucker, the famous management guru, he says very clearly that communication is the lifeblood of business. So he compares communication to blood. So just as blood is important to human body, so is communication to business. So with these words, I think we should begin this webinar. I thank everybody who has come for this webinar, who's attending this webinar. I'm sure it will definitely be a good learning opportunity for all of us, right? And I thank Ashish and Priyanka for having taken this opportunity to conduct this webinar for the school. Thank you and best wishes to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Salim. And thanks a lot. Your presence is a sort of support to us. Thank you, Ritu ma'am, for being here. And thank you, everyone present here. Communication skills, as rightly said, actually, that by Dr. Salim, that it works as a blood when it comes to a business life or work culture. Cannot be overlooked, cannot be taken for lightly. This is important. Let me share the screen, and with a short presentation, I would like to begin this session. So I welcome everyone to the session here. Just give me a second.
Before Sir begin, I would just like to point out few things. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you people have any question during the presentation, please type them into the question box in your control panel. I'll bring them up during the presentation, and we will also have time for the questions at the end. Thank you. So now, without further ado, I'll just turn the time over to our presenter, Mr. Ashish Johri. So over to you.
Sajal, could you please confirm whether the presentation on the screen is visible to you?
It is, sir. It is visible to me.
Thanks, Sajal. Thanks for bridging, actually. And it is actually, your role is really very important.
You're welcome.
Once again, a very good morning to everyone present here. Today, we have gathered to actually have some light on the importance of communication skills. One of the parts, that is verbal communication, will be taken care of by me, and the other part will be taken care of by Ms. Priyanka. I have seen actually the list of participants, and I have found that many of these students have joined this session today. Many, maybe the new ones also. So I would rather start with a kind of few lines, like, and these are in Hindi. परिंदों ने उड़ान भरी है, परिंदों ने उड़ान भरी है, इम्तिहान अभी बाकी है, जीती हैं चंद बाजियां अभी, आसमान अभी बाकी है. So congratulations for the successes you have ensured so far for yourself, and good luck for the bigger ones in the future. Verbal communication, when it comes to communication, let's talk about communication first. We all know how it is defined, what is the definition for communication. wherein it is considered to be a process. Yes, there are some who consider it to be a sort of product also. But again, if we take it as a process, wherein actually a message is conveyed and is and is received by the other at the other end, it's called communication. But something we are talking about and we should rather be striving for is called effective communication. So, what may be the difference? I hope many of, and perhaps majority, and many of us may be having clarity on this. It's not only communication skills that we are actually concerned about. Rather, we are more concerned about effective communication. So, effective communication. Moving on to the next slide. Effective communication is nothing but making your message reaching the other end in the desired way, which could meet your expectation, meet the expectation of a sender. I hope everybody would agree to that. What is effective communication? This we can understand. Many of us communicate, many of us send ideas, messages to the other ends, and there may be times wherein the message or the ideas are not received to our expectations. So, using all those required skills in order to make the message reach the other end successfully, and if it happens, it can turn the situation in our favor. It can, of course, bring you to a position where you can negotiate in your favor. There are some advantages of effective communication there on the screen also. Yes, it does help us build trust, which is important to go ahead with anything, with anybody, for any purpose, for any reason. Also helps in preventing or resolving problems. Friends, we all know that everybody is born with his own or her own abilities, and everyone is a unique one. We have got a lot of potential, each and every one, having no doubt in it. Now, the point is having a lot of abilities, skills, potentials, and good ideas. How we are going to be benefited on this with all these things? That is possible only if we could communicate to the world. We could communicate this all to the world successfully. Successfully in a way actually to our expectation, which could actually help us. So of course, yes, making the world realize what we have, making the world realize that we do have a purpose and we do actually can do, we also can do something. We have ideas, we have potential. We need to communicate it to the world. And that again has to happen in an effective way. The other benefits also are there on the screen. It does provide clarity and direction. Effective communication helps you have clarity and direction so that things are executed well. It does help us, especially when it comes to effective communication. It helps us improve productivity as well. So there may be so many other things can be added on this list when it comes to effective communication. Whatever we can understand, but yes, none of us can say or claim that we do not require effective communication skills. Believing the fact that everybody agrees to that, let's move on to the next part of this session. So understand and having understood what is effective communication, that is again the way we send a message or an idea, and it is successfully going to reach the other end to our expectations, benefiting us towards the end, is called effective communication. Important for several reasons. Moving on to the next slide. Now, in effective communication, what we are going to cover today. When it comes to communication, it is verbal communication and non-verbal communication both. What I personally think, and even the experts also have read on their opinion in this regard, when it comes to making their communication effective, let's understand that non-verbal communication. There are two types of communication, as we know. verbal communication, non-verbal communication. There may be some other subsets also under verbal communication, non-verbal communication, but the major types are verbal communication and non-verbal communication. Verbal communication, wherein we use words to convey the idea with others. It is therefore both a written communication or spoken communication. Non-verbal communication that covers everything, your body language, your gestures, and so many other things. And what I personally think that when it comes to making our communication effective, the major contribution comes from non-verbal communication. But that doesn't mean we can overlook verbal communication part. Important. Many of us, many of our students, as the faculties also are the part of this session, may have experienced that many of our students may have grown up with a dream actually to be good at communication skills, and but is still struggling, till now struggling in making and structuring sentences. Several reasons may be talked of. We can actually uh, think of many reasons in this regard. What may be the reason a person is still struggling? At the same time, all agree to the fact that yes, they need to improve and they need to be good at communication skills, especially their verbal part. Be it speaking, be it taking competitive exams later in the future, be it expressing themselves in words, be it addressing the audience or in speaking in public, we require control, or rather we need to be good at verbal communication, that we already do. Now the point is how to go about it, especially the ones they who have difficulty in expressing themselves when it comes to speaking English. Let's talk about English as of now. So yes, if possible for us and we could actually acquire this learning instead of learning a language. This is always advocated that try to make an environment or create an environment around us wherein most of the people and most of the things happen in English. Yes, it does help. It helps more than sitting in a classroom and learning a language. One can easily improve on verbal communication part. Let's understand how to go about it. I would be happy to take your questions towards the end, as Sajal said. Towards the end of the session, there will be a session for questions also. We'll be answering your questions. We'll try to satisfy your queries if you have any. So when it comes to verbal communication, there are several things. There are rather many things we can talk about, and which are rather discussed on the campuses here of Galgotias. But some of the important things I have brought here, let's discuss them as well. The first thing which is required and which I have experienced, most of the speakers, most of the rather students, let's talk about students as of now, they who have difficulty in expressing themselves in English usually fail to have relation to the tenses while they are speaking or they are attempting to speak in English. There are ways, and there have been times wherein they must have studied these tenses during their school times and college days also. At the same time, there is a need to understand and to look at these tenses with some sort of functional approach, which can actually help you in real-time situation. While speaking, my suggestion to the ones who have difficulty in making sentences in English, my suggestion to them is, if they are speaking and making a sentence, or if it is for the time being, or maybe actually for in some of the cases it may be true that they might be translating that particular thought in their first language, or from first language to the second language, that is English. Understand and try to keep an thinking of the tense, which tense you need to speak in. I have seen a lot of cases. One of the examples is there on my mind right now, which I can share with you. A sentence, simple sentence. So suppose it is a person who has a thought in Hindi on his mind, that कल मैं market गया था. Another point is, in order to translate this, and maybe actually he might be having this approach, which is not absolutely wrong also for some time. With the passage of time, people can easily actually start thinking in English and can deliver the sentences in English. But as long as it is true in some cases, wherein they may be translating one sentence from their first language to the second language, let's understand the fact the moment if I want somebody or if somebody himself wants to make a sentence or translate a sentence, कल मैं market गया था, he might come up with a sentence, and it does happen, people, friends. To yesterday, I go to the market. So now by adding yesterday, he thinks that the job is done. We all know in a sentence, when it comes to English, we might need to make changes at several places. It's not just yesterday. So the main thing is here, verb part, verbs form, and all that can, of course, be taken care of. One can easily improve on that. We should be happy of the fact, and we should be rather proud of the fact that yes, we, for us, English cannot be a problem because we have already mastered one language, and that is Hindi. It's not something we cannot learn a language, we cannot improve. It's just this to have the right approach. Now, there is another thing which I would like to highlight here, and that is when it comes to the tenses, we have 12 tenses. Major tenses are past, present, future now, and each major tense has some four subtenses. So when it comes to tenses, is not something which is completely new to anyone, I believe here. Something which must have been discussed and studied till 10 plus 2 or 10th class. But when I recommend and when I advocate the fact, actually the functional approach, I mean this, that while dealing with this tense chart, one should be rather fast at this. Do not let your brain relax and while dealing with this tense. Have just clicking sort of thing. If it is something like, in the first sentence, the sentence is, the inputs are I, and the verb is go, and the object is to the market. It should not be like, I go to the market, and when it goes to past simple, I went to the market, future, I will go to the market. It should rather be fast, so that you should be actually fast with this thought formation or other process. It should rather be as fast as I go to the went to the market, I'll go to the market, I'm going to the market, I was going to the market, I'll be going to the market. If you could do this, this requires practice. Then think of the time when you are trying to make sentences up into the tenses, how long it is going to take you to think of the right way to make a sentence. So practice. It is all based on practice. Effective communication is required, and for that, verbal communication has to be taken care of along with non-verbal communication. Moving on to the next slide, which talks about the second important thing when it comes to improving upon verbal communication, and that is pronunciation. Several reasons, maybe the background, the cultural background, and the area, the geographical area in which a person has grown up, may cause poor pronunciation. And that is enough to stop anybody from even trying in public places, in public speaking. But we have to think, is it something that we cannot pronounce a certain word? Or it is something like that we cannot pronounce, or we are unable to pronounce a certain word to an extent that the word pronounces it. So maybe the right matter of catching on to the right pronunciation of a certain word or words. In most of the cases, something that fails people to pronounce words correctly, the wrong use of vowel sounds or less clarity on vowel sounds. Pronunciation can be taken care of. One can actually improve on this by imitating good speakers, keep listening to them, and your brain would do the required work, and you yourself would be surprised one day that how things are changing in your brain and you are able to make them to the expectation. The second is, of course, yes, which I mentioned, and I would rather be highlighting this further. We need to control the vowel sounds. Listen to yourself. Sometimes give yourself time. It's not always to practice pronunciation in public. Give yourself some time. Pronounce a word, speak out a word, and understand whether it matches with others' pronunciation. Practice English alone. That again goes and also further follows the previous point. Pay attention to intonation and stress. This is also something which helps people in order to make them sound interesting to the word. And the next can help you a lot is singing songs, which require a lot of intonation and stress and all. But moving back to that importance of vowel sounds, as we all know, whatever we pronounce, whatever word we have, most of the words in English are followed and have some vowel sounds in them. What I have experienced in most of the cases, people who especially come from some certain regions of the country, yes, it is always considered, and everybody knows actually, every man and every person has his own accent, and that accent actually comes from the background, is influenced by the background. So the ones I was talking about actually, they who have such difficulties in pronouncing words, may be facing such difficulties because they do not care about vowel sounds. Most of the sorry, for most of us, when it comes to a, it is a, and when it comes to a, there is no difference. For them, a is a and a is a again. Or if it is a, then a is a and a is also a. We need to take care of this. Let's take an example. If it is P-E-N and if it is E-A-N. So the only thing that actually makes a difference here is a vowel sound. In these two words, wherein P-E-N, we have to understand E is a vowel sound that produces the vowel sound, that is A, and it's a short vowel sound. And when it is E-A-N, again, A produces here causes the vowel sound, and that is a long vowel sound. So while pronouncing the word P-E-N, we don't have to prolong it. This is just hen. And when it comes to P-A-N, you can. So this is the difference. Now what if I call P-E-N pen and P-A-N pen, both the words for me are pen? It would surely cause confusion when it comes to public speaking. We can understand and we can rather control these vowel sounds. A very interesting thing here I would like to mention. In my classes, when I happen to ask my students
Yes,
about
Ashish,
yes, sir.
Ashish,
Yes, sir.
Ashish, it's not very clear. You're not very clearly audible. So, there's a slight echo and there is a slight. If you could just speak a little louder and maybe.
Okay, sir, let me try. Thanks for bringing it into my
Yeah,
knowledge.
it's not very clear.
Okay, let me try, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, is this better now?
Yeah, it is better, Ashish. Yes.
Okay, fine. So I'll try to continue on this.
Yeah,
Uh,
sure.
yeah. I'm sorry if I was not audible and was not clearly heard on the things actually I have already delivered. I will try to make a connect with that also. So, see, friends, we are right now talking about pronunciation and also the things which may fail people to pronounce some words, particular words correctly. So, among maybe the other things, other reasons, one of the things which I was highlighting was vowel sounds. Dr. Salim, could you please confirm if I am now audible? Yeah.
Yes, I think it's now better, Ashish. It's definitely better.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much, sir. So, vowel sounds. Some interesting thing which I wanted to draw your attention to here was like when I happen to ask my students in the classrooms or in classes nowadays we have online. When I happen to ask them how many alphabets in the English language, in general we get 26. However, it is just one. And again, this is sort of small learning to them. So one alphabet, And all the alphabetical letters in the English alphabet have are countable now. So when I happen to write a sentence, like I mean, deciding and choosing whether I am going to pick A or N, so this is A. Then focusing on the pronunciation of the sound, the first sound is a vowel sound, it has to be followed with N. This is N, A. The sentence completes here. The moment I pick B here and I want somebody to make a sentence in a classroom, especially when I actually deal with the students there, this is just I'm telling actually which can help people understand the importance of knowing the difference between the sounds, consonant sounds and vowel sounds. And yes, it is emphasized already that if it is A, then it should be a short vowel sound. If it is, then it should be A only. It cannot be A. If it is A, it has to be A. It cannot be A that way. So all these alphabetical letters are the countable nouns. And if I need to make a sentence using first alphabetical letter A, then I have to add some article, indefinite article, based on the sound. So if it is A, the first sound is A. So that is a vowel sound. Hence, I have to make a sentence. This is an A. And if it is B, this is a B. So this can be an interesting drill for us also, for everyone who are interested in improving their pronunciation or working upon their pronunciation, in order to understand the difference between the consonant sounds and vowel sounds. So if it is A, then they have to pick the right article, that is NA, and if it is B, a B, then C, then a C, something like that. But interestingly, when it comes to U, and I happen to ask people, okay, what do you think can come before U? Which article, depending on the sound, U. Then again, it turns to be, in most of the cases, NU. Again, people start visualizing it. Avoid doing that. Focus on the first sound. When it comes to U, the first sound is here, and that is a consonant sound that picks A. But again, when it is used with U as UMBRELLA, then it sounds Then again, it can be followed by N. So again, everything depends on sound. So the first thing, in order to be better at verbal communication, tenses, try to have clarity and try to have use tenses actually appropriately so that sentences can be made correctly. Pronunciation, by keeping in mind the vowel sounds also, and to keep vowel sounds in mind and to distinguish between the vowel sounds actually may help you a lot in pronouncing a certain word clearly and in an appropriate way. The third thing which is important here is vocabulary. The recent studies also say this. Most of the people who have English as a second language for them, especially in the higher education sector, face one of this difficulty as one of the other. Vocabulary, vocab, and for that, many of our students try in a way, actually, they keep on reading newspapers, magazines, and books, and they try to make a note of words. They try to memorize them, and over a period of time, they forget, and then again they try to memorize them. Yes, it does work, but again, it may take longer. So the point is how to improve upon vocabulary, which is required when it comes to verbal communication. Having gotten the words, collected the words, that's fine. But how to remember them? This is the point. Helping you remember the words and the vocab, possible through several ways. One, try to study root words. Root words are nothing but actually a kind of clue for you, which can help you guess the meaning of the foreign words also, which you are not already aware of. I hope you can relate it to a root word, which is omni, when it comes to omnipresent. Yeah? So omni, of all the things, everywhere, something like that. So when it comes to omnipresent, and somebody is not aware of the word omnipresent as a whole, then can at least guess and can actually guess to the closest of its meaning. Like if it is omni and present is a very common word, can easily be guessed to be something which is present everywhere. Omnivore, vor for eating, omni means every. Then again, something that's some animal or something which can eat anything. Sophisticated is a word. Suppose if a student is not aware of the word sophisticated, or if as a learner this is a new word for me, then I need to, the word I have understood actually, sophisticated, I can consult a dictionary, I can look up the word in a dictionary, I can understand the meaning, I can remember it for some time. But again, what if after some time, if I don't happen to use it, or I forget, or it slips my mind, what will happen? So I just need to ensure that I should remember the word. Whenever it is required, I should be able to use it. So sophisticated, understand what is the root word here? Maybe Sophie, Sopho, that talks about wisdom. So these are just clues actually how understanding of root words can help somebody. So Sophie or Sopho talk about wisdom. So person who has means which a little wisdom and also a good amount of wisdom and have worldly knowledge and all that is called sophisticated. So for again, so for is a word. Suppose it's a new word to you or for me. So if it is a new word for me, then I can at least guess. So for is a word which has so for. That means something about wisdom. So for more, sorry. So for more. So for more is used for a person who is in the second year of graduation or degree course, means a person who has learned, who has got educated to a large extent. Sophist, again, sophism, these are the words you can easily guess their meanings if you actually are aware of the root word or the meaning of the root word used in that particular word. Now the second thing is prefixes and suffixes. Having good knowledge of suffixes and prefixes and their meaning actually can help you multiple your existing vocabulary. So am I audible? So could you please confirm? Dr. Salim?
Yes, Ashish.
Okay, fine, sir. Thanks for the confirmation, sir.
I'm there.
Yeah, thanks, sir. No, I was just trying to understand actually whether I'm audible, clearly heard there.
Yeah, you are definitely audible, but it's not very clear still. I don't know why. There is some microphone problem, or there is some problem in the audio, something is there, but not very, very clearly audible. But still, I think it's okay. It's not that bad.
I see, sir. But I'll still try to make it better if it is possible. Thanks, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Please go on, Ashish.
So prefix and suffix also can help you a lot when it comes to remembering the new words. Let me share one of the very good things here about this. What if I happen to, in a situation wherein I happen to ask my students also a very simple word which they can easily relate themselves to, or anyone actually, we at least if we do not use it, at least we hear about it a lot, and that is cigarette. And I happen to ask somebody, or if you yourself happen to ask people, 10 people, how to spell cigarette, then many of them may miss. Many of them may go incorrect here. I'm talking about students right now. Let's understand how it can be possible, how it can be dealt with. So when it comes to cigarette, what is the suffix here? Yeah, there is a suffix, and the suffix is E-T-T-E, that is E-double-T-E. If it is a suffix, yes, it is a suffix, and that shows actually something of that type or a smaller part of or a smaller form of that particular thing mentioned in the word. So what is a cigarette? Is a smaller form of a cigar. So now cigar plus E-T-E, and cigar can easily be spelled out like C-I-G-A-R. So now if you yourself ask, if you can ask yourself, or if you can actually try to recall how to spell cigarette, so this is very simple, C-I-G-A-R-E-T-T-E. The same applies to, what if I ask you that what would you call a smaller room there in your house which is attached to a bigger room? So that smaller room is nothing but again by adding ETTE you can make a word, that is roommate. Couchette, kitchenette. So this is the importance of knowing and having clarity and knowledge of suffixes and prefixes as well. Now, the next thing which can help you a lot in remembering and retaining that learning, or rather that retaining the vocab that you have gone through recently, or you want to remember the names, is memory link. Having been or being successful in establishing a workable memory link can help you recall that particular word, even if you don't happen to use it for long. Suppose if there is a word augment. Augment is a word, and you happen to consult a dictionary, you find that augment means make something better, stronger. Fine. Today we know this. I happen to consult I consult a dictionary. I got to know about this. I need to remember the word with its real meaning. So which may work for me can and works for many and can work for you and for the ones actually who happen to feel new words or happen to remember new words, fail to remember new words, can actually establish memory links for themselves to recall. So when it comes to augment, what is how augment can sounds like, this may be a combination of two different things, like aug means arg and mint. So if we add mint to arg, fire, what will happen? It would actually go furious. So now this way you can remember the word augment, you can remember its meaning also. There is another word like we can take an example of attrition, gradual reduction. Suppose you consulted a dictionary and found actually gradual reduction and something like is the meaning of attrition. Now the point is, how can we remember it? Establish a memory link. Try to establish a memory link for yourself. You need to remember the word as well as its meaning. These are the two things which you may require. At the nearby ration shop, there is a high rate of attrition in price. Now, ration shop can make you or can remind you of the word attrition at a ration shop, can remind you of the word attrition and the meaning also. Ameliorate could be a word. And I'm trying to have some simple words here. Establish a memory link for ameliorate, something that can work for you. Something that may work for me is Amul rate. So Amul rate is increasing day by day. Now this is the memory link that I have established for myself. Now the Amul rate actually thing can remind me of the right word, and increasing its rate day by day would remind me of the meaning. So for me, ameliorate means what? To improve, to make something better again. So this way, we can use these memory links to remember the words when it comes to vocabulary or when it comes to have a good vocabulary. This is applied, and yes, we can apply such an approach to remember idioms and phrases also. Let me share with you something very interesting. I hope you find it. There is an idiom which is called a dog in the manger. A dog in the manger is an idiom. Suppose I share the meaning of this right now. A dog in the manger is a situation wherein a person neither does himself anything nor allows others to do anything. So now this is clear. But now the point is, how can we remember and use it, or rather can recall it when it is required to be used. So in order to have that memory link, we can think of a situation, or we can rather discuss this with our friends or in a class event. So what is a manger? Manger is just nothing but an enclosure in which cattle are fed. It's a kind of word, and there is a Hindi word which is given to it, nad, in North India. So nad, in which actually cattle are fed. So suppose there is a kind of manger. In the manger, there is food meant for the cows or buffaloes, and there is a dog now in the manger. Neither the dog can eat the food meant for cows, nor the cows would be able to eat it because of the dog in the manger. Having understood this, I don't think you can forget this idiom anymore. Wherever the situation arises, wherever it is required to be used, or at least it can strike in your mind, your choice whether you are going to use it or not. But for this situation, the idiom is there in your mind, a dog in the manger. The situation is like a dog in the manger. Other thing that can help a lot in improving on vocabulary is read as much as possible. Reading helps a lot. Reading helps in a way that the words that you add to your existing vocabulary, even though you do not use them in writing or speaking, it can actually get refreshed in your mind by reading. I mean, maybe actually while reading you may come across these words. There is a possibility, higher possibility. So stopping reading and or having less reading may be difficult to actually may be a problem in remembering and improving on vocabulary. So advisable is that read as much as possible. Verbal communication is important. At the same time, non-verbal communication is also important. Non-verbal communication part is going to be taken care of by Priyanka ma'am just after I finish. Hoping that you may have found and you must have found the session interesting. Let's move on to the last slide, which has a quote. To effectively communicate, we must realize that we are all different in the way we perceive the world, accept it, understand it. We have our own ideas, we have our own ways, and we use this understanding as a guide to our communication with others. So we all as individuals are unique, and this something should be respected and should be rather believed in. Wishing you a good productive communication. I would be waiting for the time. Actually, I'll be having questions from you. I will be satisfying your queries. So I hope that's enough on my part. The rest will be taken care of. Priyanka ma'am. Sajal, over to you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, good, Ashish. Very nice. Now, waiting to hear from Priyanka.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your insights on the topic. I'm sure we all learned a lot of new things, which we are going to help in our respective careers. So, if you have any questions, please remember to type in the chat box. And it is time for our second presenter, Miss Priyanka. Miss Priyanka is an ambitious and highly motivated assistant professor for life skills at our university, and she has proven herself in providing English language sessions to a wide range of audience. So let's welcome her, ma'am. Over to you,
Sajal, could you please clarify if my presentation slide is visible?
ma'am. It is visible, ma'am.
So, a very good morning to one and all. And after a nice session with Ashish sir, I hope you're all in all settled to have the information on non-verbal communication. So, let's demonstrate it with an example. I would be saying few words, sentences. My facial expressions would be super positive. My body movements would be super positive. And my words, the way I say would be completely super positive, except one thing. My hands would be doing the complete opposite. So are you guys with me in this? I hope you are. All of you should learn more about public speaking, because if you learn that, you are going to be a good individual, better and better in your life. People would love your presentation, would listen to your arguments, and then you would thank me later that what I taught you. That's it. I hope you realized what I was talking and what I was doing. So the question arises, what were you focusing on what I was doing or what I was speaking? That is all about body language. That is all about nonverbal communication. When our words and our actions are complete in opposition with each other, we have discrepancies. And our mind, subconscious mind basically, accepts what it sees. It does not agree to what it listens. It's like whatever we see is the truth, right? Whatever our eyes see, whatever we witness is the truth. So subconscious mind doesn't want to do any effort. It accepts what it sees and rejects what we see. So that's body language. Let's go ahead with briefing about the types of nonverbal communication. Talking really about, do actions really speak louder than words? Imagine me or yourself meeting two different people, right? One who is having, one who meets me on the street and say, hi Priyanka, how are you? And I reply, yeah, I'm fine. And his body language is completely approachable to me. I find him smiling. I find him attracted towards me and I feel attracted towards him and I want. Would I ever approach him? Would I? No. Because his body language is telling me that he is completely disinterested to talk to me. And I do not want to. That's what is body language. As you have already seen in the demonstration, that what we speak is ignored and what we do is accepted, so happens at the workplace. Who would you like to approach? Who? The one with an open, welcoming body language or the one with closed body language and a stare? So let's talk about the four categories of body language. Nonverbal communication, aesthetic, physical, signs, and symbols. When we talk about aesthetic body language, it is about dance, music, art. All our actors, actresses express aesthetic communication, and I hope you have seen that how there is a difference between real life and real life. But real life is really important as well. Physical communication involves smile, frown, wink, and any kind of expression during social interaction. Sign. I hope you know what is this sign for. The sign is for victory. So, signs basically represent a special meaning. They communicate some special messages. Specifically, in the Navy, when we are trained in the Navy, they have some special subtle signs that we should follow to do that thing, right? And the symbols. Okay, a question for you. How would you rate that person is having 7 cars and his a rich brat? So symbols symbolize your social status. So symbols are also important. But out of all these four, aesthetic, physical communication is the most important type of nonverbal communication. And whatever we perceive, what ideas we have, whatever attitude we have, is exactly communicated to the person we are going to talk about. It has tendency to support what we actually want the other person to feel. So connecting those four with the 6 universal human emotions, let's take it to the basic emotions we all feel. Happiness, yay, that's a great news. My face, my eyes, my body is expressing that I am happy. I'm happy enough to do whatever I'm doing. I hope I don't need to speak about it. Anger, it comes on your face, it vibrates to the other person, and automatically people feel distracted. Sadness, I change my facial expression. I do not like to talk. I sit and look. Means I am sad. Means I need somebody's sympathy. Anyway, these days, the most famous expression at the workplace, being jealous of what other qualities the other people have, and then how she can do that, how we can do that. Oh, don't forget fear. Have you heard, I'm scared of dogs. Please keep it aside. Don't bring it home. Fear of heights. So the fear is reflected that I am scared. I am scared. Love. Love and the purest of all the emotions from your parents, from your spouse, from your expression is all love. And all these universal emotions via physical communication can, your body language can communicate with these emotions in four different ways. It can repeat what I am speaking. Yes, that's the great news. Yes, that's the great news. I have a future ahead. My expressions, my body language is actually supporting and repeating my message, whatever I want to convey. Second thing, that I demonstrated in the very first beginning, initializing the conversation, contradicting. I am fine. Now, my body language, my facial expressions say that I am not fine, but my words are speaking completely opposite. I am fine. So, that is called as contradiction. Third, it can substitute my message. Substitution in a way like the dumb people, like those who are not able to speak. They just express by emotions, whether they are happy, they are sad, they're not speaking anything. So we substitute the message just with the help of body language, adding to the meaning. I am tired, baby. Can you sleep today? Look at my eyes. I have loads of work to do. Can you please rest today? I'll take care of you in the future and tomorrow, please. So my expression, my exhaustion, my tiredness is visible on my face. So definitely, action. Always speak louder in words, and I would always will. Okay, now you might be wondering, non-verbal skills. Again, we have discussed, we have demonstrated why it is important. It is important because we have 110 as the present non-verbal communication skills that we completely ignore in our life, and we completely focus on, okay, I don't know this, I don't know this, I don't have the content. Fine, but I get most of the people get selected because of the confidence, because of the body language in their interviews, because they retrospect, they radiate something to the other person that convinces the other person to carry this person in the team, carry this person in forwarding for his or her life. When we talk about importance, importance of body language at work, I always want and you being placed would always want that you want to send right non-verbal signals to the person who is listening to you, who is watching to you. You do not want your message to be contradicted anyhow. So if we go ahead, now let's
Priyanka,
talk about,
Priyanka,
yes, sir.
Priyanka, again, I think you also need to be a little bit more clearer because it's not very clearly audible. So just
Sir,
check your audio once. So just check there is something because of which, the voice is also echoing a bit, actually.
all right. I hope,
Now it's a little
okay,
better. Yeah, now it's a
sure,
little
sure,
better, Priyanka.
sure, sure, sure. Let me just,
But you're going fantastic. Very good. Very nice. Please go on.
clear, okay, sir. So, moving ahead, now let's talk about the difference between verbal and non-verbal. Verbal is what we are speaking, and non-verbal is our body movements, which includes gestures, postures, sitting, standing, our zone, and, of course, voice. Remember, three P's: pitch, pace, and pause, which is really, really important for you in your life. You need to control your voice. You need to learn stress and intonation. I hope you remember while listening to the music that we have some lyrics going up and down, or you might have seen on the web series that we have up and down signals showing means when it is high and when it is low. So when the voice is higher and when the voice is supposed to be low. That is what we call as stress and intonation. So you should be using that stress and intonation depicting that I am very clear. Giving an example, if I want to ask a question, I would say, what is your name? Or what is your name? I won't say, what is your name? I won't be speaking a question mark sentence in a sentence way. It should be predicted as question mark. Or let's say, how that? Or bravo, we won the match. So exclamation, so expressions are really important. And so as your pitch, so as your face. So when we talk about space, it is the speed we are going to talk about, the speed which we are speaking with. Is it clear? Are the words overlapping, or am I just I want to speak about that? So obviously, I'm reflecting lack of confidence in this thing. How I should be speaking is every that everybody able to understand and nobody is distracted. Third and the most important thing, I'm taking at the end, pause. Pause your mind. Pause your thoughts. This is really, really important. And to emphasize it, let's have a look at the examples. So I have three examples in front of you. Three dots here means 2 seconds pause. Okay. You will see that how taking a pause changes the entire meaning. How many of you know that, thanks to me, my colleague is expecting hike in a salary? Means specifically, I took this example during the pandemic times when the people are losing jobs, and it's been so humorous that you are expecting a raise in the salary. So that is a completely different meaning. If I say it in one go, how many of you know? Just a question. The difference in the pause, difference is about the pause. Another example, I hope you will be able to relate. Yesterday, I realized that my girlfriend is hot tempered. There's a difference between hot, that's attractive. Hot tempered means short tempered. So the meaning is completely changed when we add a pause. Another example, the world is going to be hotter, hotter, and hotter with each passing year. So here, I'm emphasizing my message that global warming is having a huge negative impact on the lives of the people, right? And we actually need to do something. So practice yoga, practice pranayama. Your breathing would be controlled and you would be master of your own oxygen level you are drawing inside. You would be happy inside. So that's what's the meaning of treating. Moving ahead, another important thing is zone. If I am interacting with you, like I would have 3 zones or 4 zones to interact. I would not allow any stranger to come into my intimate zone. Now, let's divide the intimate zones and the differences so as to have a proper connect. Intimate, when we have our partners talking to us, when we have our immediate family members, my siblings, my parents, who would be talking to me at a distance of 0 to 18 inches, right? And I would say my best friends, my first cousins, my extended family would just be accommodating a personal space. That's a space till this distance, right? My one-arm distance is called as my personal space. And this is an example for that. That's how we need to approach in actually our life when we are communicating. Because we aren't allowing the people to communicate in our intimate space. And social space, hi, hello, friends. And strangers occupy completely public space. Moving ahead to do's and don'ts of body language. We have discussed demonstration, we have discussed everything, and now I'm going to talk about 3 important aspects: eye contact, facial expression, and the body posture. Here is the reflection of 4 kinds of people: confused, excited, mad, and rejecting. The one who is excited because of the so much of negativity around gets irritated. And if I am a team leader, I don't want my aura to become negative just because of the other people. So just differentiate. Who would you like to approach from among person A and person B? Obviously, person A, who is making an eye contact with me with an upright posture and is seemingly happy in comparison to the person who is shy, uneasy, and is uncomfortable with me. Okay. When you go at a service desk, who would you like to interact with when you are sitting at a service desk? The person A or person B? The person A who is listening to you, the one who is talking to you and is looking towards, and the one, I'm busy, I'm occupied, don't talk to me and all that. Would you like to interact with that person? No. So I always try to interact with the people who are welcoming in nature. So you need to understand that it is really important to have a positive, open body language. Now, why body language? As said earlier, as described earlier, 70% to 90% of our communication is all body language, all. What we are talking, what we are doing is actually more noticed than what we are speaking. So let's talk about how to look confident, attractive, respectable from head to toe with a complete demonstration from my end. So let's begin with the feet. If I talk about feet, if this is my shoulder length, my feet should be shoulder length apart and the legs having the shoulder width and feet pointing towards, not inwards, because that is a closed body language. If I do it inward, it would be a closed body language. Remember, if you're being flat, you do like this. You're being hidden, you do like this. That is closed body language, reflecting fear. I am totally nervous, tense, scared, so I need to radiate calmness. Okay, would you like to talk if I'm standing like this or standing like this? I've seen many students giving their presentations and standing like this in front of me, doing like this, getting nervous or putting their hands in the pocket or holding a glass or something. We never like to interact with such people. Why? Because they are actually always like this, always hands like this. Now, the most conflicted part, how should we be standing basically? Our continuous screen time, rising of our, I would say, computer time has made our body slouch. I stand like this, I sit like this, with my head leant forward, whereas, and chest inwards, stomach inwards, and I am making my spinal cord bent in that case. Where is it? I should be standing straight. Shoulders at the back, head pointing straight, and my body language should be approachable to everyone, facing forward, making a proper eye contact, and being welcome with all the nature. And here connects eye contact. We always say, and you have always heard, eye contact is important, eye contact is important, eye contact is important. But why it is important? Because that portrays confidence. We have a rule called as 80-20. During the conversation with the other person, 80% of the time we should be making the eye contact with the person, and 20% we can move the eyes. Otherwise, the person would say, I'm staring at him or her. And it would be completely uncomfortable when the opposite genders are interacting. So eye contact makes you feel interested, confident, smile. A jewelry that is sold by everyone to wear, but you're not supposed to open up in an, I would say, your social zone or a stranger zone like this. The 32 teeth are not for your social zone. It is for your personal space. So have a subtle grin so that you are radiating positivity, your smile, and keep your ha 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 smile for your happy, funny moments. So when I talk about body, how should I move? I should be as slow as possible, but not like a slow. Never. I hope when they do a catwalk, you must have seen their feet crossing up and their shoulder like this straight, and they're completely straight with the confidence, chin up, raised high. That open body language. You must not have ever seen standing like them or doing like this, fidgeting, nervous, tapping their feet. No, they're walking confidently. So I hope you get to know about something more about this. Okay, taking an example, do animals communicate? Yes, they do, but only with the only with the non-verbal communication. They have you heard animals speaking? Except in the cartoons, you won't be hearing it. The speaking them in jungles. So scientists, after a lot of you can say studies, have gone into a connect that when rabbits sniff, they may be just annoyed and they want your attention, sniffing like that, grunt. Uh, So they are angry and don't go near them. You could badly be bitten. Shrill scream when they're about to die, when they're hurt. They're screaming that please save me, try and save me. And if they're circling your feet, it means he or she is in love and is trying to convey the same emotion. Circling is one of that body language which is found in most of the animals showcasing love. And there's another example. You all are scared of lion, right? But you know, lion is scared from you more. Why? Because he thinks that you are larger enough for him to handle. And once you radiate afraid fear, he would definitely attack you. So animals actually are scared because we are lengthier in height. Now, heard about eye contact, but how eye contact? When I'm happy. My pupils are dilating. I am angry. My pupils contract. I am furious because I don't want that this thing to keep going on. When I raise eyebrows when I'm talking, it means I'm submitting to what you are saying. When I'm lowering, means I'm least bit interested in what you are talking about. That shows that you are quite dominant. Blinking. More you blink, more bored are you. Another is the boredom symbol is darting. Like I'm just finding an escape route, like looking like this. Okay, sitting straight, but looking like this, where I should escape, where I should go, I am getting bored. So eye contact, when is made with the person, that's why I said 80% time. Why? Because if I dart, the other person would get to know that I am completely bored. And if I blink again, the person would get to know. Moving up to your fingers. People generally ask this question, ma'am, if we are talking about body language, where we should keep our fingers or how we should keep our fingers. As I said, on the side, but if you're moving, you could say, okay, let's talk about body language. So I'm expecting something positive. When you, without speaking anything, do this in front of people. What does that mean? I'm expecting money. Okay, mom, please. So I'm expecting money from my mom. I've clenched my fist. I do not want to talk to you. No, no, no. Okay, I am agreeing to you. My clenched hands and forcing smile would come on my face and would be completely visible that I am frustrated. Another posture is the steeple posture, which should not be done in front of your superiors or in front of the people who are at an authority to you. But yes, it reflects confidence. So when you are in the class or the people with lower designation, you can generally have the posture of your fingers, but not in front of your elders or the people who are at a higher designation. Coming to the next slide, detecting liars. I hope everyone wants to learn that. Whenever you talk to people, remember these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 pointers. When somebody covers his or her mouth while talking, or is touching the nose again and again, okay, or scratching his head or scratching his neck like this, grabbing the ears or rubbing the eyes, or pulling the collar even when the atmosphere is cool around, putting fingers in the mouth like this, all show that the other person is trying to build up a story which never existed. So you can detect lies. So that is why it is always said, never to lie in the interview. Please be honest, because your body language would show to the other person. If you want friendly, welcoming nature, mirror the body language of the person. Hair is an example. When we mirror the body language, people feel interested. Like, yes, I would say it is a bit of an ego massage, but to have friendly nature, to be more welcoming, mirroring is copying the body language of the other person, brings me in their social or sometimes in their personal space, and I feel confident in sharing what I want without any hesitation, without any fear. So mirroring is another aspect of positive body language. Already discussed, but let's have one more look at good standing position. Stand erect, face the person, free your hands, look into the eyes. You can move a bit forward, a bit backward, a bit horizontal, a bit vertical, but do not overdo it and go to the extreme corners of the room. Do not dance in the room. Next, we have is good sitting position, and I'll be facilitated if you could just watch me sitting. I'm lowering my screen a bit. Okay. So when we sit, we need to face the person, look into the eyes of the person. Mind your legs. As we have told, shoulder distance apart, here also we need to occupy a little space. I'm not supposed to sit like this. I'm supposed to sit like this. Not stiff, but at least at an angle of 4. I hope you remember how we write 4. Entrusted towards the other person. Try to spread out your legs a little if you are sitting, but do not overdo it. For feminine, I would say they should sit cross-legged. Why? So that it is actually a feminine gesture and is not supposed to be copied by men. For men, we say they should be sitting at a leg shoulder distance or a bit apart. Another, your interview matters, your discussion matters, but what matters the most is the angle you are sitting. So try prefer sitting either directly or at an angle of 45 degrees. Okay, let's come up to something which COVID-19 has completely forgotten us to do that. That's handshake. Now we scared, but let's work out the good timing and let's discuss how should a proper handshake be done. I hope you're able to see this. This is called as a proper handshake, where I call it as equality handshake, where none of the persons, the ones who are interacting, is actually crushing the bones of other and is having equal pressure, equal composure, equal confidence, and that is called as an equality handshake. Image for your reference. Submissive handshake, I hope you must know about submissive handshake. When in basically Indian societies, when a hand of a girl is handed over to the boys, so it is submissive, like we are submitting our girl to you. That submissive handshake sometimes, and sometimes it's also done among the bride and the groom's families. Next we have is double-hander handshake. That is, I hope you might have seen politicians. They greet each other, right? And then they again overdo their another hand. I am in agreement with you, showing that I am agreeing to what you are talking about. So what you have just said, I'm trying to build cordial relationships with you. Another handshake. Now, this wet fish handshake is like, okay, I'm shaking hands with you, but I'm really not interested to shake hands, honestly. The next we have is white handshake. Means I'm holding a person, right? I am trying to crush him. This we also call as bone crusher handshake. I am not publicly doing that. In public, I'm shaking the hand. My facial expressions are cool. That can only be done by the manipulative people. But I'm crushing the bones of the other person. And the last is fingertip handshake, specifically done between the opposite gender people. Now, if I talk about my standing position, how should I stand cross-legged, whether cross-legged or not? As discussed, open legs show confidence, right? So that's why shoulder distance apart is the actual distance of open legs. Closed or crossed legs means I am not at all ready to listen to you. So whatever you are saying is going out of my head and I am not interested. The double cross. Means when I cross the legs, when students generally while giving the presentation cross their legs and hands at the back and they are just dwindling here and there. That's a double cross. I am not receptive to the communication. Figure 4 like clamp generally committed by or generally followed by men is specifically showing like this. You know how negative this is because the soul is pointing towards the other person, shows that you are stubborn, you are arrogant, and this is okay if it is done like this. It's okay, but like this, when the soul is pointing towards the other person, sounds so rude. So be sure that when you have a four-leg clamp, you do not point your soul towards the other person. It is completely disrespectful. When you lock the ankles, I hope you know, when you lock the ankles, I feel if I am locking the ankles, I'm hiding some negative emotion I do not want to share. So ankle locking generally seen among people is hiding their emotion. Discuss everything. But what about clothing? When somebody you don't know enters, what happens? You look at that person and the dress of that person, and that's how you make reflection, and that's how you, the audience, is thinking about the person who is talking or who is presenting to you. So it's not only the appearance, I would say, that make it you, right? But yes, it does add to the image you are presenting in front of your audience you are talking. So dress the way you want your audience to be perceived. Now, there's a statement in this. Dress up like the job you want, not the job you are doing. Giving you a short example, you are hired at a position of, let's say, marketing executive or a sales executive, but you are dressed up in a complete business suit. What would happen? People would think, oh, that person is a great dignitary. He is or she is quite well known, but you are just a marketing executive. Still, your dressing sense, your body language, without talking to them, one of the parts of the body language conveys hundreds of meanings to them, which may or may not be true. So, clothes have three different types of image. Either a neutral image, or an image lower than your designation, or an image higher than your designation. So you choose what you want. But a key guideline is never ever dress up less formally than your audience. That's why uniform systems came into schools and sometimes into colleges and universities as well. So that we are formal. Why you guys are dressed up in the formal when you go for placement? Because everybody is informal. So we should be dressing up as everybody, either higher but not lower. And the golden rule, stay true to yourself. Do not betray you. Do not be dishonest. Do not lie. Just true to yourself. Now, really important. Hold your head high, not that high that you are putting it in, on and you're looking towards the sky. Straight, forward, not towards the ground. Your chin parallel to the ground. Tighten your stomach, but do not, I would say, control your breath, right? Move your shoulders naturally. Keep your back straight and not up or forward or backward. You need to swing your arms a little when you walk. If I say I'm walking, you need to swing your arms a little, right? But do not overdo it. We are not doing the march fast. Walk smoothly from heel to toe, right? Generally, people walk these days like this. I've seen many people walking like this. Why? Because of their screen timing. So practice yoga asanas to have your back erect so that you can stand, walk, and sit properly. So your grandma, your grandparents were right. Sit straight. Do not sit like this. Sit straight. You are losing your body posture. Why protruding stomach these days? Because we are sitting like this or we are lying like this and we're just watching on the screen. So move properly, have your correct body posture. Now, why positive body language? Because five key elements are always there in the positive body language. It reflects confidence, It shows that I'm completely non-defensive. I am not dominant. I'm interested in what you are saying, in what you are doing, and you can approach me whenever you want. Now, there is a difference in saying the statement, you can approach me whenever you want, and you can approach me whenever you want. I hope it's now particularly clear to you what is the difference. The difference is what my hands, what my body is speaking to you. Am I acting a barrier? Am I creating a barrier or not? Okay. To send the right messages with your body, you should be watching it on the YouTube. Some of I have demonstrated, some of the importance of communication has been discussed, importance of body language has been discussed, but the point is to apply. Let me give an example. The fastest way you can judge someone's body language is give him a compliment. So generally, in these days, what happens is somebody compliments you, you will say, thank you. Okay. Another way, somebody compliments you, oh, thank you. Somebody again compliments you, thank you. Somebody compliments you, yeah, thank you. Trying to prove my arrogance, but what actually you are doing? You are throwing away the compliments. And I guess compliments are loved by all, accepted happily by all. But how you are accepting? Thank you, thank you, thank you. So when you are throwing away the compliments you love the most, imagine how would you receive the bigger amount of things, job opportunities, money, love, relationship, respect, then you can't accept the compliments at least. So from now on, giving you a tip, start accepting the compliment like this. If somebody compliments you, take your hand, scoop it, and say thank you. Smile and say thank you. Be grateful. Learn to accept compliments, and you would say the world's changing for you, the relationship's changing for you, and you being happy inside out, not the opposite way. We generally see she did this, he did this, so I am angry. But why? Why you need? If you are not happy inside, you would keep on playing the blame game with other people. So be happy inside and radiate the same to the other person. Start accepting compliments. Start accepting like this. I hope you would begin the change in you, a minor change in you by saying thank you and smile. Don't be arrogant. Don't consider the other person enemy, even if. So, okay, he's at a social distance, but what if he's giving you a compliment? Accept it. Happily, radiatingly. As rightly said by Mae West, I speak two languages, body and English. So you should also be speaking and conversing in two languages, body and obviously, here we are talking about English, so yes, definitely the English. Now, hands over to Sajal and time for question and answers. Thank you from my end.
Good, Priyanka. Very nice.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. That was wonderful. So, I think now, without further ado, let's take some questions from the people. So yes, we have. So I would like to remind you guys, please type your questions in the chat box, and I'll take the questions personally from our presenters. So we have a few questions. I'll just check the chat box. Okay, so we have. Okay, Arika Negi has asked, if communication is so much dependent on the body language, then in the current scenario, what would you suggest when most of the interviews which are taking place on telephonic platforms? Like, it's a really good question.
Yeah, good, Arika. I appreciate your question. When most of the interviews these days are happening and the body language is absent in that case, let me remind you, when I speak, I visualize myself. So when you are speaking, the other person on the phone is actually visualizing you. So, okay, I'll turn off my video, right? And I'll speak something. You you would again be able to visualize me that what body language I'll be using. My sentences would be radiating confidence, and automatically that body language would come out. I remember when I take classes, what happens is, okay, when my video is turned off, when we are sharing the screen, so during the entire time, I am moving my hands as if I'm actually talking to the students, and that is coming naturally. Why? Because it is not one day training or a 2 day training. Our subconscious mind, guys, has been trained from the very beginning we are born. And for that, Arika, specifically to everyone, let me give you an example. Fold your hands. I hope everybody would be able to do that. Fold your arms. So let me demonstrate. When you fold your arms, you do like this. Right? Now, this right arm is on the top. Now I tell you, open it, unfold it, and fold it in the other direction, like this. Don't you feel awkward? Weird? Okay, now this is something uncomfortable. Why it is uncomfortable? Because I am not being trained to do so. My subconscious mind, as I already said, accepts the easier thing. So body language comes from within, whether somebody is watching you or not. So when the interview takes telephonically and you would use body language, the other person would be surely able to recognize that what actions you would be using. I hope this answers your question.
I hope it does, Arika. Anuj Sharma has asked something, but generally when we are communicating our sentences are not fully grammatically correct. So is it important to have our message grammatically correct to have an effective communication? I guess he's asking about when we are communicating verbally, at times it happens that our grammar is not on par, it's not correct. So what should we do at that time? And if we mess up, how to have effective communication? Ashish sir, would you like to answer it?
Yeah,
Yes.
sure. Could you please remind me of his name once again?
Sir Anuj Sharma is asking this.
Anuj, nice question. Question is really very good and often asked by many of the students. Understand, for the ones they who have English as second language for themselves, it is not so much expected on your part to be 100% correct also at times while you speak, especially when you are speaking in public. If you could manage to do that, that's great. But try to understand that at most around 80% of accuracy is required. This much is a requirement, right? So if there are some slips, can be taken care of if the message is clearly conveyed. And yes, we are living in a world actually wherein if I happen to say, Priyanka, I went to the market today. Yeah, you saw me now. So even though I made a mistake here, then to Priyanka man gets the point. So this actually here the message is being conveyed, but there was a big mistake. So now the point is try to have accuracy up to at least 80%, 85%, and if it is yes 100% accuracy is there, that's always great. As far as speaking is concerned, while speaking, you would not be in a state to correct your sentences time and again. Once you have spoken, it is gone, right? And if you happen to rephrase it, yes, there is a scope for rephrasing it. At times it may work, but again, not for every second or every sentence. So avoid rephrasing. I mean, rephrasing a sentence is fine, but accept that it's not you to be 100% accurate if in case there are few mistakes and if the major part of the piece of information is correct, no problem. But again, I would advocate and I would recommend study more. And there will be a time wherein you can actually ensure up to 90 to 95% accuracy. To ensure 100% accuracy, this is like coming to an extent and coming to a level of a native speaker of English, and that is a great achievement.
I hope sir answered your query, Anuj. Next question is from Sandeep. It is for Priyanka ma'am. He's asking, ma'am, you talked about catwalk and the gait, about walking and everything. So which is obviously for females, catwalk. So he's asking what could be the walking for males. What would be their
I
effective walking for males?
Correct. Yes, Sandeep, I would surely like to answer this question, but if you could remember my last slide, moving the poster, that was for everyone. Cat was just an example. Being a female, I gave a female example, but I hope I gave an example of modeling, right? And therein I specified catwalk. So modeling is for boys as well. We have models, we have actors as well. So watch them walking. They are not doing the catwalk, but they are actually walking confidently with their heads up, chin parallel, straight, and in a modeling affair. But yes, they are being.
Excuse me. I guess, Priyanka ma'am, there is some issue
Priyanka ma'am, your voice actually.
on your side.
Okay.
Your voice is a little. Yes, there
Is
is some
it
issue with your
audible
voice.
now?
Is it?
Is
It's
it
audible
audible
now.
now?
It's audible now.
Yeah. So as I said, the catwalk is about females, but we have seen male models or male actors also doing, also walking
Seems to be some network issue.
Please bear with us. There seems to be some network issue on her side. So, okay, we'll take another question until then.
Yes.
Ashish, so the next question is from Prashasti Gandhi. She wants to ask, so when we are nervous, we usually start rubbing our hands without noticing, and that we are doing it and it seems bad. So how can we avoid this or somehow hide it from the person we are getting interviewed from?
However, I think actually Priyanka ma'am was supposed to take this question, but Ms.
Yes.
Gandhi, if you want me to answer this question, I would rather say your involvement would be actually really decisive whether you will be kind of nervous, or you will be nervous in that certain situation or not. So what I suggest and what works wonders actually for me and for a lot of speakers across the world, whatever situation you are in, just get involved in that in a way that you should not be thinking of anything else so much. You should not be thinking of the fact what is going wrong. Rather, focus on the question, focus on the answer you are making. Do not think much. As far as actually nervous is concerned, it is quite human and it is possible to be there. Everyone feels nervous when it comes to a new situation and when it comes to performing in a new situation. So of course, yes, there are ways you, in order to hide that, can opt for some other body language in order which can actually appear to be a little positive instead of rubbing your hands. So first of all, the first thing which I suggest here, try to focus on that particular thing, take interest in that situation and be involved as much as possible. Trust me, there would not be any scope for nervousness. And even though if you happen to feel a little, then you can actually, instead of rubbing hands, you can go for some other body language sort of thing, or some other gesture which can help you and can appear to be better or rather positive. Sajal, I hope I could.
Yes, sir. So another question. Another question. Okay. I guess Priyanka ma'am.
No problem.
Ma'am,
You go
you.
ahead, finish. Priyanka ma'am is not visible here.
I'll ask to unmute. I'll ask her to
Yeah.
unmute. Yes.
Unmuted?
Yes, ma'am.
I apologize everyone for the sake for this disconnection.
No issues, ma'am. Ma'am, there was a question just for you. So Prashasti Gandhi asked, sir, try to answer it, but it'd be really good if you would try to answer it again. And the question is that when we are nervous, we usually start rubbing our hands without noticing that we are doing it, and it seems bad. So how can we avoid this or somehow hide it? And this is by Prashasti Gandhi.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Oh, good morning right now, Prashasti, for the same. And yes, it is a good question because some of the actions you do unconsciously. And to support that, I gave you an example. We aren't trained today for doing X or doing Y actions. We have been training ourselves unintentionally, unconsciously since we are born. We have been noticing our parents. We have been noticing our environment, how they're talking, and we are adapting to it. So now it's the time to bring in change. When you see rubbing your hands unconsciously, right? Just notice it, be conscious. And in between, I also said practice yoga asanas, practice meditation, practice breathing. Because when you do so, you get awareness of your mind. Keeping your mind, body, health fit would make you more aware of your surroundings and what you are doing. I'm always aware about where my hands are going, where my legs are going, what are my facial expressions. And it doesn't come from one day. It has come from a year-long practice, I would say. So I guess you require practice. Start, as I gave an example, start with a compliment. I remember I started accepting compliments. I also used to brush off the compliments long ago. But when I was learning about this, I started with this thing, and that is my personal experience I vended you. When you start accepting compliments, you actually start becoming happy and you actually start becoming confident and you are aware whether you are rubbing your hands or not. I hope this answers the question.
I hope it does. So we have another question from Dipanshu Bhatia. He's asking, so Ashish, sir, I guess this question is for you. The question is, if I've said something grammatically incorrect, am I supposed to apologize or just swiftly move forward?
Yes, if you have realized actually there was a mistake and the mistake may change the meaning, you should apologize. You should try to rephrase it if you can. See, knowing and realizing that you have made a big mistake and which may cast a bad impression on your performance there, and just ignoring that and continue talking about something else may actually leave a bad impression to the listener also. So accepting it, see, in any situation, accepting your flaw, accepting the flaw made or a mistake can never go wrong or can never go in your disfavor. So I would suggest actually, if it is such a big mistake, then you better accept and rephrase the sentence and remove that. Or without accepting, you can rephrase the sentence. That would be actually a kind of acceptance. But I would not advise you to avoid and to continue speaking, go on speaking by leaving it there if it is a big one. I mean, it may have a big value or big importance. So again, up to you, up to the mistake and the intensity of the mistake made. Yeah.
So we have another question. Let me see if it's the same question or if it has been asked before. Or this question is from Sunana Singh. She's asking that yes, we know about communication and about body language and how it is important in effective communication. But the question is that in communication, tone and fluency of the voice are also very important. So when I come in spoken English, grammar rules is also important, but I see more people who do not follow the grammatical rules. And yes, this is, I mean, I also have personally seen this while giving interviews that people are not using grammatical, they're not grammatically correct and they're just blabbering about. So what to do at that point of time?
And Sajal, I would like you to please remind me of the word. Priyanka, ma'am, I won't mind actually if you add something to it, but I would like to initiate the answer to this question.
I would like you to initiate and then I would continue. Let's together answer this question.
Sajal, so could you please remind me of the question? Oh, of the person who asked this.
Sir, the question is from Sunana Singh.
So Sunana, question is good. And as far as the third point is concerned, I found actually 3 points to address here. One is that tone wala thing, and also the grammar part, and there was something else. I would ask Sajal to please.
Blabbering about.
So first thing actually, that the one thing which you think and which most of the students might be thinking, that is while speaking it is difficult or it is not possible for somebody to take care of grammar. This should not be believed in. Grammar is required everywhere. There may be a situation wherein when it comes to speaking and when it comes to speaking or making an effective communication, grammar cannot be overlooked at all. Now, as far as your own thinking is concerned, wherein you might find yourself thinking that yes, even though there are people who speak without following grammatical rules, and then they are understood and are accepted. This may be just because of you, or one himself may not be aware of all those required rules. There may be sentences wherein I happen to say, oh well, can you see actually there are hairs lying on the floor? Can you please have them removed? So I have used hairs. Now, according to you, or it could be like, sir has used s with hairs. It is grammatically wrong. But then too, nobody is objecting to it. No, sir, this is correct grammatically here because there is another rule. So now the point is, if we ourselves are not aware of all the required rules, we may find somebody and we may actually be little judgmental on this, that somebody is making a mistake and is still being accepted. So I would recommend that yes, understanding grammar and applying grammar is very much required. The more you can do it, the better impact you can make out of your communication skill. Sajal, still I would like you to please repeat the question once. The question was completely wrong. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just repeat it again. I just have to go again. So Sunana is asking that she sees people who are not grammatically correct when they are speaking. The question when they are speaking, And she knows that yes, English is very important and grammatical rules are essential when you are framing anything. And people do not follow the grammatical rules. So is it that important for them to follow?
Yeah. So I believe I have already answered this. So
Yes,
it is
sir.
important, and if you, the more you can manage to do that, the better speaking you can make for the people around. So grammar, a language does not have an existence without grammar. Trust me. And when it comes to a second language, we have an opportunity to understand this language from the scratch. Hence, we can keep grammar in place. So see, when it comes to Hindi, you might not have studied Hindi grammar actually sitting in a classroom. But for English, we are given a lot of opportunities. We pay a lot of attention. We refer to a lot of books. Hence, still, if we are not able to pay heed to grammar, then understand there may be others they who may surpass you, keeping grammar in place.
So another question, and it is from Sandeep Mehta. I guess it is for Priyanka ma'am, but I think she's having trouble. She's having some internet
You
issues,
go
I
ahead,
guess.
question, no
Yes.
problem.
So the question from Sandeep Mehta is, while delivering a presentation, what we should do if we forgot some content or missed something, and we don't want it to reflect in expression and body language, which generally gets reflected. So what we should do to overcome that?
Great thing. And this is I hope you already must be having an answer to this question, the one who has asked this question. The point is, one that while presenting, the important thing is not the content. The important thing how you are, how you feel about the content you have, how you feel about the connect you have with the audience. So if in a situation wherein you miss upon some of the content or some of the things actually meant for the presentation, you are advised to continue with the rest, because not only two three things are going to make your presentation effective for the audience, there are many other things also. Pay attention to the things which you remember, forget about the things which you may have forgotten.
Okay. Another question. Anuj Sharma is asking another question. The question is how to achieve effective communication, because it is easy to make someone known, to understand our message, to make them understand our message more clearly. But in comparison, when we are having a conversation with someone we do not know, how to make that conversation better and how to make them understand, how to make them convey our message clearly. So
The simple thing is to feel yourself in his situation, in his position. Even though the person you are communicating with, you may not have met that person, but you can at least understand that how he may be receiving your messages or the messages coming from you. If you succeed in understanding and putting yourself in the shoes of the listener, you would surely be doing justice to your communication.
right, right. I'll just look for another question here. There are many questions. I'll have to choose now because I think we have exceeded our time limit, I guess.
Okay,
Um,
fine. So if Dr. Salim, if
yeah.
sir,
Before concluding, I would take one more question, I guess, and after
yeah,
that we may conclude. I'll just look for it.
yeah, no problem. Meanwhile, people, the ones who can hear me, especially the students, by the time actually Sajal come up with a question, remember that when it comes to effective communication, understand one of the most important things, so many other things, be a good listener. Most of us are not good listeners when it comes to, but maybe all of us may be having a desire to be good at communication skills. So one can be good at communication skills if he actually happens to listen to others effectively. Yes, sir.
Okay, so Dipanshu Bhatia is asking a really
Yeah, no
uh,
problem.
okay. So the question is, if I have an interview tomorrow morning, what sort of preparation shall I opt for? Like this is like the last minute preparation which he could
It
do.
does happen. Yeah, yeah, over to Priyanka ma'am seems actually you are going to take this question.
So I just read this question, so I was like asking for unmuting. So Dipanshu, when you would go for an interview, first thing, dress professionally, be you, be honest, and be confident. Right? That's really important. Do not, I won't say that forget grammar rules, remember, but don't remember the rules. Remember its application. That's what really matters. If it is your first interview, try to correct yourself. For example, I've seen in many students, I didn't told you this. I didn't told you this. Did with the second form of the verb, which is completely wrong because did is always in the second form. So I didn't tell you this. Go and rectify once. But if you think that you're forgetting what you're answering, there's no need to rectify. And just keep on. If you think that rectification would create troubles for you and you're going to forget what you're speaking because of the nervousness you are sitting in the interview, there's no need to reiterate. Just be you, be comfortable, and remember what you know about your strengths and how what is your unique selling proposition. Interview is all about means expressing myself to the fullest. Be it my language, be it my skills, and be it my confidence. Whatever I have, take it along and represent. You would surely succeed.
That's right.
Sir, anything you would like to add, sir?
So that's fine actually. It's not just one answer that you make and you get selected for. There are many other opportunities one candidate can come for, so
Yes, sir.
can come across. So the point is actually being nervous is quite normal. It is possible, and when it comes to the first interview, it could be greater. There may be greater possibility, but yes, calm down. However, practice cannot be substituted by anything. Practice is a requirement, right? Don't make it a habit actually just to go for the last minute preparation. So again,
Yes.
remember, if you do not practice, you are going to have a hit. But again, then too, you can have the situation in your favor if you stay calm and whatever you remember, whatever you actually are confident with, if you're okay with that, that also can work wonders for you. People remember that communication does work, but it works for those who work at communication.
Exactly.
So that is, I think,
Speak
the
two
main.
languages. Speak two languages.
Speak two
English,
languages. One is
English
language
and
and
your
mother.
body. Yes.
Yeah, true, true. Very well said. Yeah. So, Sajal, you may go for the further course of
Yes,
action
sir.
in order to conclude that.
So I think we have covered most of the questions and different kind of questions. I guess we have covered all of those things. So I think I would like to welcome Dr. Salim to conclude this meeting, to come up and say a few words.
Sure, sure. Yeah, sure, sure. Thank you very much. And it was a great session. I really liked it. Both of you all spoke very well. In fact, this host also, this guy, he speaks very well. You
Yeah.
come and meet me someday.
Thank you, sir.
Such a
Good
compliment.
job, Sajal.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Good
sir.
You
job,
Good
also
Sajal. It
job.
was
speak
really
very
good.
well. I'm
You were a
really,
great support. Yeah.
I'm really so
Yeah.
happy. Means it reminds me of my previous organization when I was listening to you. So that's really good. You definitely come and meet me. I think Priyanka and Ashish, you all did a fantastic job, and it's good that we have started the webinar series. And let's do many such more webinars on various topics. And over a period of time, every monthly, we'll be doing these webinars. Thank you very much. I thank everybody who has come today and who has participated. I thank the Vice Chancellor and everybody for their support. And I wish the school all the best.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
Thank
much,
you,
Dr.
sir.
Salim. It
Thank
was
you,
a
sir.
great support from
It
you.
was great
Yeah,
support, really.
yeah. Your presence was itself actually quite encouraging
Thank
for
you.
us throughout the presentation, throughout the webinar. You were there as a great support to us. And yes,
So
Sajal, your job
I
was wonderful.
remember, yes, I remember going to sir and asking just short questions just because this is the first webinar. But yes, your support was brilliant. I guess without your support, it wouldn't have been possible. And you, Sajal,
No,
I know that I took you at the last
it's
minute.
a very brilliant start. It's a very good start.
Sajal, I took you at the last moment, but yes, you did a fantastic job. You actually fulfilled my expectations for being the moderator.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks a
Proud of
lot,
you,
ma'am.
Sajal.
These
Proud.
these
Okay.
words. Thank you for your kind words, sir and ma'am.
And Sajal, do come and meet me.
Sure, sir. Just as soon as the college reopens, I would surely come and
Sure.
visit you, sir.
I would like to meet you, definitely.
Sure, sir. So, with
Okay.
that,
Yeah.
with your permission, I would like to now it's my pleasant duty to propose a vote of thanks in the conclusion. So, on behalf of Galgotias University, fellow students, faculty members, and myself, I express my sincere gratitude to each and everyone for sparing their valuable time and to be with us this morning. So, thank you all, and
Thank you all.
Thank you
Thank you
all.
all.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you all.
on behalf of School of Learning. Thanks a lot.
School
School
of
of
Lifelong
Lifelong.
Learning, Galgotias University. Thanks,
School of
everyone.
Lifelong
Let
Learning. Yeah.
Let's meet again very soon. Bye.
Sure,
Sure,
sir.
sure.
Sure.
Sure,
Thank
sir.
you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.